Welcome to Classic Burners. On today's podcast, we're going to be going over to Compton, California to meet Pistol 45 from the I2W crew. You don't want to miss this, so hop on board and don't miss the bus. All right, tonight we have Pistol 45 from Compton, California, or Willowbrook district, which is like a little subsection of Compton, you could say. Thank you for coming through, brother.
Hey, thank you for the invite, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you, bro.
Well, this podcast is about like getting stories out there from writers and parts of the city that don't get a lot of coverage sometimes. And we're gonna have guests that are well known and have been covered, but I mean, it's gonna be a little mix of everything. You know what I mean? It's just we're just gonna get into some good stories, and everybody's got a different story to tell. But you have a really good story, and so. Let's just get right into it, and let's just go back and let's take it from the top and go back to your area. Please, first of all, describe your area, what hood you were in when you grew up.
All right, so I grew up on 118th Street, right there between Mona and Willowbrook, and that's the 90059 zip code, and then a few blocks down, it was 90220, which was Compton officially. It was we were just away from like 3 blocks. I was 118th, and Compton started on 121st, I believe. And
you had Watts right across Imperial Highway from you, like a block away,
yeah, because there was 117, then Imperial, and usually we use Imperial to divide like Compton and Watts. And I live right there on the edge, and it's called the Willowbrook area, Some people know what's up with right
the
there.
Imperial Courts.
And we had projects. The Imperial Courts. There were the PJ Watts, and then the area I lived in was like in the Mona Park neighborhood, the Mona Park Crips, and down the way you had the 124s, and then you had the Largos, and then you had Linwood over here, and it was the industrial park area, and that was like not far from Montgomery Ward, which is now like Plaza Mexico now. Before it was the Linwood Marketplace, and
of course I know all those areas.
Yeah, so.
But this is the hood. I mean, we're talking about what was the demographics there? What was the racial makeup of the people there?
At the time, it was I would say majority black and Mexican, but it was more like at the time it was like 70% black and 30% Mexican, and you had the sheriffs that were like, the sheriff and the LAPD would come in those areas, and back then the majority of the cops were just these big freaking corn-fed white dudes, and they would come in like cowboys and kick some butt, man, and then you had the swap meet people in the liquor store. People were like Koreans, Asians, and that was a demographic that I would see from that area.
Yeah, so for young Pistol, that was the makeup of the world, so to speak, right? Yeah. You know what I mean? That's how you saw Asians as the store owners, whites were the cops, African Americans and Mexicans were the people struggling day to day to just survive, right?
Yeah. It was a crack era, There was a lot of crack going on, and you had a lot of people coming from Mexico, At that time, we're talking about, I was born in 78, so I'm talking about early 80s and all that, early 80s. I'm a kid right there growing up. And
I know your area, man. I mean, people slang on your block was a big slanging block. And the projects right across from you was a big slanging projects, so that was all around you, right? As a kid, or, I mean, did you notice it?
You know what? It was funny. I was, like I was saying a while back, it was in my house, I felt safe. My mom and my brothers and sisters, we took care of the pad, and we had a manicured grass, and my mom would put roses in the front. She tried to make it look good, and I guess it worked because as a kid, I didn't even know I lived in the hood, you know what I mean? And anything outside, I was like, man, it's, we had some nice houses nearby too, but we would go down the street, and like it'll be 117th, and we could see the Imperial Courts because we had to get Imperial to go anywhere back then.
Boarded up windows. And
stuff. It just looked grimy, It was just, it was a lot of crackheads, and it was just wild, man, And so anything outside my house, it was it was the hood, and I just didn't realize that I lived in the hood, to tell you the truth.
What school did you go to?
I went to school in Martin Luther King Elementary, and then
what was that like, bro? Walk us through it. How did it feel, man? The atmosphere around those areas. What were the kids and all that?
Man, it was dope, man. It was like, at the time, the brothers, the black folks, they had the crack on lock, so their kids would come to school all freshed out, little Fila outfits. Like they look like that movie. What's that movie? I forgot that movie, but it was one of those East Coast movies, and everybody would be like, the brothers would have jerry curls with little outfits and like 10 pair of shoes. They would always be fresh because they had it. It was just a lot of crack being dealt, and their kids were just laced up. And then you had us, the Paisa kids, that they were either gang banging or they just would know how to play marbles real good. And so playing marbles was a big thing back then, and there was a lot of gang banging too. So those were like people we looked up to, and people that sold drugs and people that were gang banging. People had white shirts, creased pants.
Did they do the rolling pigeons and all that stuff over there?
Yeah, that was big too, right there, man. We would see it. People always clapping and making them roll, and bikes were just a big thing. People standing in the corner selling crack, and but you had a lot of good people too, though, man. It wasn't just all that, you had good old folks up and down, but it was all mixed up like that, Everybody had to pass each other, and there was respect. Pit bulls was a big thing too. Pit bulls, everybody wanted a pit bull, had a pit bull, or
needed a pit bull.
Yeah, needed a pit bull, man, and it was still, and it was we had a lot of alleys that we had to cut through to get to from 118th to Martin Luther King, and it was cool, man. It was home.
All right. So how did a young pistol come about, like the graffiti part of it? Like how'd you start writing? What was the first graffiti you saw?
The first graffiti that I noticed was there wasn't really a lot of buffing back then, so you had tags. Like you would see stuff from the 70s, from like the Largos, and then like you would see a lot of the Crips.
So you see really old gang tags.
Yeah, they didn't buff, and it would just be like virgin brick, and you would see old tags, and from even at school you would see old tags and carvings, but a lot of it in the beginning was gang banging graffiti, and that caught my eye, and then I realized what it was about, and it was just it was a violent type of graffiti. People would circle names and cross them out. That mean like I forgot exactly, but I think either they want to kill them or they killed them or something, So there was a lot of like rules in the gang graffiti,
Right.
And that was a little fascinating. But then I learned about the like the hip hop type of graffiti, tagging crews and all that.
Who are some of the old school writers in your area that you remember seeing in the old days?
Off the back, KCC was a big influence on everybody right there. They were tagging a lot in that era right there in that time. They were just up everywhere. When they were mobbing all through Compton, KCC and KWS, and then later on you would see like KK.
What about piecing wise? Any old school like hood piecers or anything around there in the projects?
You know what? There was a dude named E-Man. He was from PJ Watts. I never met the guy, but like going. Catching Imperial, he would get a lot of the walls along the Imperial projects.
The outside of them, those long walls that ran for a while.
They have these walls, and he would do
kind
these
of short but long, right?
Yeah, he had like these dope blocks, and he would put E-Man, PJ Watts. He would draw like Scooby Doo holding up a C for Crip, and he would put shades on them, and then he had another character with a jerry curl, and it would be like a stock tip, like graffiti style, but like mixed with gangbanging, and that was it was dope, man. That was a big influence. I'm glad that I was able to mention that dude. Big shout out to him. I never met him, but if he's still around, that you had a big influence in me. E-Man from PJ Watts.
Fresh.
Yeah.
Also, and at that time too, what was like the style of dress that you had and the music you listened to?
Oh man, so back then, corduroys were big, Levi's, and coming up, I grew up with Prowings, bro, you know, and, but, you know, we always wanted to wear some dope, clean white shirts and some All-Stars or some Nikes, you know, and, yeah, man, just try to be clean and, you know.
Now, how old were you when you finally got broke free from the Prowings and got some?
I was in the 3rd grade when I thank God that my mom just bought me some All-Stars, you know. I was just like, man, I was relieved because you would get bagged on big time back then, you know. Dressing, having your shoes clean was a big thing back then. And if you didn't, you know, people, you know, kids were cruel back then, bro. It was the 80s, you know. It was like, you're going to get bagged on, you're going to just be shamed and not want to come to school, man, you know. So,
right.
Yeah.
All right. So then from that point, a young pistol, you know, he comes up, learns a little graffiti. Tell me about, you know, the first graffiti hit-ups you were doing, if you had any other name or anything like that.
Yeah. I had a couple, you know. I know Spec was one, and then Think, and then Paint. And then I finally settled for Pistol, and then later on I added a 45 because there was like another pistol, I think, in the San Gabriel Valley. And so I just wanted to, and then, you know, finally settled on Pistol 45 and P45, you know. Yeah.
All right. And then so now the era flips then from just catching little tags around, I'm sure, your neighborhood and school or whatever. When did you take it up a notch? Because I think in that area, bus riding, right, was the big thing.
Yeah. So before it would just be like tagging on the schools around the neighborhood. And then I ran into the homie Chi, you know, and then as I got to know him better, you know, Chi was you know, he was lacing us up with game. And as far as graffiti, he was
an experienced bus rider.
Yeah,
he was very up.
Yeah. He was up, man. And like, I really didn't know much about buses until I met him. And then he would take like us meaning like me and all the neighborhood taggers there. He would take us on missions, and he would just have like, he would have up to like like eight kids over here from the hood, like black, and yeah, man, like a bunch of black kids and me, and then he would just take us to like the Santa Fe yard on the 60 bus. You know, we'll get the 202 to the 60, and we would go way over there, and these guys would like tag all over the buses, like, and it was wild, man, because they were like little kamikaze bus taggers, you know. They just didn't care, and they would do it in front of everybody.
And that's the LCs, right?
That was the LCs, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that she had, you know, and then...
And you had become a part of that eventually?
Yeah, I worked, you know what, he made it hard to get in, but he made us prove ourselves to get in, and he finally gave us a break. We met Resist and Soak 122, and there was just another bunch of kids that were just wild, man, you know. I remember Fool, Nike, all those guys, and they were just killing it, bro. It was just a whole different type of graffiti away from the hood and schools. It was raw and uncut, man. It was just, and that adrenaline, you always wanted to feel that adrenaline, man. And we would just start trying to emulate them, and you know.
You remember any stories of something that went down on the bus when you were out riding, or saw anything?
Man. Yeah, just those guys right there tagging on buses everywhere, you know, and all outside. The one that stands out the most, we would post up in front of the Compton swap meet, and there would be a lot of people jumping on the buses there, like to get on and ride the actual bus. So the bus couldn't go, you know, nowhere. And these guys, they would tag on the whole bus. They would kill the bus. That's what they call it, killing it. And they would get the grill outside, the front destination. They're just everywhere. And it was crazy because you would see the other guys already tagging it, and then we would get off, and then we would do our little thing. And that stands out the most, you know. And just Chi catching grills everywhere, and like showing us how to do it, showing us where to step on the bus and how to grill ride if the bus took off with us on it. And you know, he was a big influence for us, man, especially on the buses, you know. He put us up on game, on scribing, and, you know, just stuff like that, man.
Right. So going from that point, the next level up would be piecing, right? Throw ups first, you know, as usual progression. I remember seeing your throw ups, which are the bubble letters and the simple styles.
Yeah.
And then you started actually doing pieces, and I remember seeing a lot off the blue line. Tell us a little bit about that part of leveling up, hitting the gas, and getting into piecing.
Okay, so when we you know, when we kind of started going away from the buses, or like no, at the same time we were doing landmarking. We would call it landmarking. Me and KWITE. You know, there was guys like Harm from NHD, like Sleaze, and we would see all that stuff going on. They were up. We would see you up around that area too. You know, it would be Skill and Snap, just stuff that you guys had already did in the '80s that they never buffed. But we started getting into the landmarking, going down like straight Slauson or all Alameda, and then you had the people that would just do the one outlines and then just the silver and blacks. Then me and KWITE started going down that path, you know. The homie KWITE, rest in peace. And then eventually, you know, Chi would take us places like to the Sanborn yard, Santa Fe yard, all on the buses. And I remember him taking me to the Sanborn yard, and I remember I almost ran out the bus. And they were all laughing at me because it was like one of the first yards I had ever actually seen. And there was guys doing pieces. And they were laughing, you know, and I was just amazed. Like, what? I wanted to tell them, like, hey, come on, man. I heard they're painting right here. You know, they're like, come on, dude. And I got off, and I was just amazed by all the colors. And, you know, it was away from the hood. So we were like I believe that was like East Hollywood, or I'm not sure, but it's Hollywood somewhere, right?
It's like Silver Lake.
Yeah, Silver Lake. And man, from there, all these places Chi would take us, there was just pieces, stuff on the Alley River. And we wanted to work our way towards that, you know. And so Chi was putting us up on game like that. And we just kept trying our best. And eventually we caught onto our little style, you know. And then we ran into, like, I was, you know, my brother used to sell weed, nickel sacks and all that. And Crisis would come down from Linwood, and I got to know him, and he would show us a little something, and then he ended up taking us to your pad, and you know, being in your pad with the garage full of, you had albums of pictures and all that, and that's when we started getting, you know, to another level, and trying to, we would learn techniques from you, which Skill, you know what I mean, UTI, and we learned a lot from that, man. I just want to say I appreciate all the, yeah, cut. I don't like doing that. It just takes.
It's all good, brother. I understand. It's because, like, one of the things that a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of times kids that grow up in certain hoods and stuff like that, really their world becomes kind of just very confined to those areas. And a lot of times they don't really get a chance to get out beyond that. And so sometimes I remember taking youngsters from my hood in Linwood, and we would take them 20 minutes to the beach. They had never been there all their life. All they had known is our neighborhood, our area. Later on, you know, after I started being more of a mentor in crews, I remember one of the important things I always made it a point was to try to get guys out to meet dudes in other areas, and that would expand their mind, and they could see that the world is a bigger place. Why don't you talk a little bit about that, about meeting other writers from other races and stuff? Because now, up until that point, in your mind, all you know is like some blacks, Mexicans, white cops, and Asian store owners, and that was your world. Yeah. Tell me about now the bigger graph scene and how it was when you got exposed to that.
Oh man, yeah. So, like, we started. I don't know, freaking Skill was like a damn camp trip. I don't know what the hell, but he would. He had a little Honda, and Skill would just put us on there. You know, he would show us where to buy paint, or like where they would have good deals, and I remember you taking a carload of us, man. You know, it would be like me, Quiet Please, and damn, who else was rolling with us? Like, maybe Tribute and True. I mean, those are the guys I was with, but I forgot who was in the car with us, and you would take us like to the valley, and oh man, it's just you know, I met like Ghost, rest in peace, Snap, Chill, people like that, and it was like, man, I was like, man, these are like some actual white people, and we really didn't see that many white people that did graffiti, or we just knew what we saw in the movies, and finally I'm like, damn, this is like America out here, like it's other cultures. And I remember meeting the homie Real, Reich, Theme, and it was just a whole nother world, man. And I just it was cool, man. You know what I mean? It was cool to finally get out the hood and get to inner what do you call it? To mingle with other writers, and I was just like, man, I'm finally meeting real writers, that know how to do letters and all that, and so that was cool, man.
Like, okay, so man, it starts getting funner, right? As I mean, I can imagine it was exciting. Yeah, You're meeting all these writers from different areas of the city, and then bam, and like, what is it, like in the late 90s, there starts being conventions in like San Diego, like B-Boy Summits and Graph Cons and stuff like that. And so tell me about your first trips out of town to do graffiti. Now you're traveling.
Well, in the late 90s, we heard about, what was it called, GraphCon?
I think it was GraphCon,
we would sign up in San Diego.
TJ something battle.
Battle B-Boy Summit? I don't know.
Well, there was a B-Boy Summit in San Diego, some in L.A., but there was also a TJ...
Yeah, we would register.
Battle type thing, and then there was also a GraphCon. So there was various events.
We would register in San Diego, and then the next day we would all go to do our thing
at the airport and all that.
Yeah, excuse me.
So tell me about how did it feel to go out of town? You know what I mean? So far away from the hood.
Oh man, well before that, I don't know which one was it when we did he took us all there. It was 96. We all went down there. That's the time where I broke out in hives. Remember? I don't know. You remember? You were clowning me. I don't know if I had a bad batch of weed, but for some reason I broke out in hives. And I was like the youngest one. Man, I was, sheesh, bro. I don't know how old I was. Maybe.
What'd I tell you? Brush it off?
15. Nah, you would try to take pictures. I'm looking at you like, man, don't take a picture, man, please. And then you're like, we're on our way, from LA to TJ, man. So it was like a 3-hour ride, and we had Snap right there with us, and everybody's just laughing. We had Deal, so there was just a bunch of guys busting my chops, and I'm like this young kid, and I forgot, I don't know which one was that one, but it's the one where Crayon and them came.
Yeah, from San Francisco.
Yeah, and
Crayon.
Yeah, we did our thing, man. We did some big old letters, and man, we got a lot of love from there. As a matter of fact, like when I started, I took a little hiatus, but around 2015, we went. The homie, Skool from NBC invited us to a TJ thing, So I was like, cool, thanks for inviting us. We went, and when they see me doing a pistol, they actually had somebody jump off their bike, and they were asking Digital, like, hey, you pistol? And Digital's looking at me like, hey, man, like, and the guy's, speaking in Spanish, tú eres pistol? And I didn't know what he was going to do, attack us or what, but he was so happy, he threw his bike, and he wanted to say what's up, and that was all from, like, 96 that he remembered, and this is 2015. And
so by then you were like a legend or something.
Yeah, man, I guess because those pieces didn't get buff. And then we went, that was the 96, then we did the 99, and people just remembered, and they were happy to meet me, and I was amazed, I was like, damn, they're showing me love from back then. I was like laughing. It was cool, man. It was dope. So,
Yeah, a funny graph fact here. Mm-hmm. I think it was my brother Peter, or my brother Ultra, my brother No, and Snap.
Yeah.
That were like, and maybe Dodge and Logic. Some of the STPs and Snap were the first guys to ever write in TJ. I think they went the first guys to hit up on Revolution. They had Mean Streaks and and pilots and all that stuff. And I think they were the very first dudes to hit it. You know, I remember because I went that day too.
Now you know what's funny, man? Because like I said, my mom used to take me a lot. She used to cross people. I would see you and Snap Up, and we're talking about this is '89. You know, I would see you guys up in San Isidro, you know, and I would be like, damn, these dudes are everywhere, you know. And you would see all the guys from San Diego too. I remember seeing Quecho up a lot, Quecho, and then just, you know, you guys were down there. I was like, these guys, it was a trip, man.
So tell us about some other places you traveled, man, through Graff, man. Have you been to Arizona, New Mexico,
you know
Texas?
what?
Where?
Recently, we went to that St. Louis, and that was dope.
So
you know,
you ended up all the way in St. Louis, Missouri.
Yeah, man.
So first you only saw like white cops. Now you see a whole state.
Oh yeah, man. And it was cool because they're like Midwest white folks are pretty cool, man. They're different. They're down to earth, you know, and just like blue collar type of folks. And I really like St. Louis. You know, we had a great time down there, and I always wanted to go since you guys went down there. I know you guys had a funny experience down there, but what year was that when you guys went?
I was in jail. That was Swan and Flash and all them.
Oh, what year was that?
That was 96.
Okay, yeah. So ever since then, I heard about it, and finally, man, I don't know who organized. I know who helped organize push it was Frac 37, but I forgot how we found out about it. We got invited by I don't know by who, but Frac spearheaded that. Man, he did a great job, and
what was your theme on your production?
It was we went out there like they invited us as the I2W crew, so we all did our names, and our background was the '93 riots because it was the anniversary. Wow. So our background, Cowboy really helped us out with that background. He did great work. He was all over the place, and him and Plo did a dope '93 riots background, and we just wanted to represent LA some way, you know, somehow, and that was a great idea. Man, and then we just did our names, you know. We did a Draft, Pistol, Diplo, Frac. We did a Cecil and Zone, and we hooked up the wall. I think we got a lot of love, you know what I mean. We went and represented LA with that funky LA style, and
people were feeling it.
Yeah, man, they showed us love, and people from LA too, you know. That meant a lot, you know. They were happy that we represented, and we represented, you know, that you know, like that Charlie, that LA, you know, clean and funky skill type of style, man. And then the next one we went, the homie actually before the St. Louis, we went to El Paso. They have the Border Jam. That was Noser, and then the homie from St. Louis.
Shout out to Graves.
To who?
Graves from NG. He's the one who organized the first ones, but then now
shout out to
organize them. But he was a key player back then in that, and an ambassador for El Paso.
Yeah, that was
shout out to Graves.
Yeah, Noser invited us, and we made it happen. We organized, you know, the paint. We had them deliver the paint, and then we bought our tickets. So it was like a big thing for I2W to finally get out. A state, and we did a dope I2W production, and then from there the dude from the St. Louis, he liked what we did, and so he invited us to the St. Louis, and then we did another one. I wasn't there, but the homies did on another production in El Paso, and then we went to going on city to Arizona. And then I wasn't there for that one. That was Wrestle and then Skews, Noser, Irie.
Did you get to make it up to Washington?
Oh, dang, that's another one. Finally, the Baby G and Johnny, the Carswells, you know. Shout out to them, man.
Shout out to the Carswells.
Yeah, beautiful family.
John.
Thank you for
Glorianne.
For inviting
Aislinn.
us. Yeah, man. And They would tell us, the homie Miles, rest in peace, and Christ would tell us about this, like, they made it seem like it was a magical place, you know, it was beautiful and this and that.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, and they kept talking about it, and I would see pictures, and, like, Miles really loved it, man. He was just...
So for everyone out there, up in Seattle, Washington, John Carswell and his family have a piece of property, and every year they do parties and events for the 4th of July and stuff. And they are art collectors. They collect art. They love graffiti. They open their doors to bring up people, writers from all over. They
host.
They host really, really nice people, good family, and that really takes care of us and makes those events really special. It's an opportunity for a lot of cats to travel outside and expand their mind and see some nature. It's a beautiful country out there. And they're doing something they have a gallery now. They started like a graffiti and art cultural center out there. So check that out. They're at Apex Art Center. So
Apex Art Center. Yeah, man, they done, man. I went to their museum, the graffiti museum, and man, I ain't even been to it since it opened, but they gave me a tour, a preview, and man, it was amazing what I seen, what he was up to, and Johnny, was breaking down his vision and I was just, it's amazing, man,
For sure.
Seen a lot of your artwork. He spoke great about you, and then anyway, I call her Baby G, but Gloria Ann.
That's her nickname, Baby G.
Yeah, Baby G. She would hey man, if you ever want to come up here, bring your family, and you know what? I remember a lot of road trips that my dad used to take us to Mexico and to Chicago. And we used to drive in those damn long drives. I remember them, we had the station wagon looking backwards. That was back there, and I just remember those. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to drive all the way to Washington. And I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But we rented a extra large Tahoe and or a Yukon, one of them. And we drove up there, me and my wife Dottie. And she helped me. She helped me drive most of the way, man. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't have got there, man. Because I came out of work sleepy, and I thought I could, since I'm a trucker, I thought I could just make it all the way. It was like, after 5 hours, I was done. She took over. She didn't want to stop, so we had all 4 kids in there with us.
Dottie.
Yeah, she did a great job, man.
Fresh.
We drove up there, and my kids to this day they want to go back, but they're like, we don't want to drive though. I'm like, well, we gotta save up for some plane tickets. Anyway,
By the way, that's a good point, though. Shout out to Dottie, because Dottie, his wife, is an actual graffiti artist, too. So a lot of people don't know that. Pistol married another graffiti artist.
Yeah. She don't really...
She paints pretty cool, though. When she does it, I mean, maybe it's been a minute, but back then she used to get down.
Yeah, she did some cool stuff, man.
Yeah.
She don't really... She's just more into the family, and she's more into church, too. And
good.
So shout out to her, man. Fresh. She holds me down, man,
That's right.
And, but she helped me drive up there. They had a great time, and the Carswell just hosted us, and I did 2 canvases for them, and we had a great time, man. The kids, they had chickens and stuff, I think. Yeah, chickens.
Horses.
Yeah, we met the grandpa,
Yeah.
And it was just trees everywhere, big giant trees. Everything was green, and so, that's another place, yeah.
All right, so now it's just amazing now because how big I see I2W becoming big on social media, a lot of productions, all those, like you said, those events you guys have been painting, big productions. Dope productions, and then a lot of quality members have joined. So now it's like, I mean, you guys aren't specifically Compton, but coming out of Compton, you as kind of the guy who the visionary, the leader or whatnot of the crew, have, now, coming from that side of town is like I2W is like pretty much like the, one of the best crews that has ever come out of there. Oh, how does that feel, bro?
Thank you, bro. Well, I mean, thank you for telling us.
You guys are well known and respected all over the world now. You know what I mean? And I mean, you came out. I mean, it's just amazing when you talk about that kid who lived in a garden. Like mama had to protect you by making a nice garden so you wouldn't see the ugliness. Because you lived in a very, very, kind of it was a rough neighborhood.
That's thinking back. That's exactly what she was doing, huh? She just. Making it nice for me not realizing I'm in the hood,
Yeah.
But thank you for, thank you for the compliments, but I don't know till somebody tells us, like, hey, man, word up to I2W and
WAI.
Oh, yeah, man.
Another crew from Compton that, same generation youngsters that overcame and, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
are now a top LA crew,
Yeah, the WI is definitely, man, our on a whole nother level, man. It's they paint a lot, bro. You know, they've you know, they always painted a lot more than us. They were more like getting out there, and they do some dope burners, but we had our little funky style that, you know, and we were like just more smaller, but people showed us love, man. And,
for sure.
But, you know, shout out to Pleg, man. And Pleg just did an amazing job with WI2, man, you know.
For sure,
yeah,
man.
man. Definitely
For
try
sure,
to have
bro.
them on here. But, you know, thank you for I2W. We, I just wanted to have people that have good caliber, you know, and looking at the stuff that you brought to the table, you know, in the mid-90s. I wanted to keep it that way, you know, and I just kind of, you know, we met Rick. No, we met Will. No, Dill met Trip Out. Dill brought this dude named Will along, and then from Will we met Rick, and then from Rick we met Steam and KWITE, and then we started branching out. Like Long Beach, I guess you could say, was one of the first cities that.
It's like an I2W strong point, right?
Well, because of Homeland, you know, Steam did a lot with Homeland, and
Homeland was a park that they actually had a rec center that breakdancers with b-boys, events, graffiti. They had like a legal area.
All that, man, all that.
Up. Yeah,
it's the crazy east side of Long Beach, you know. The east side is by us going out there a lot. I got to learn about the east side, and it's pretty wild, man. You know. So anyway,
you ever see Snoop Dogg out there?
No, I didn't. But you would, you know, they were all around, like on different sides, and they would tell us not to go that way or be careful, you know, because it gets. I don't know if it still has racial, but at the time, it could get real racial in the east side of Long Beach, you know, and they won't even ask you. They kind of just go off skin color. So Steam would put us up and tell us, hey, we used to just catch the blue line and walk down there, or like get a bus. And you know, they didn't have to tell me twice. They were like, hey, don't do that, you know, get a ride next time. And because you could, you know, I believe the
it used to get pretty bad out there.
With the Asians, you know, you had the Cambodians and
there was a lot of racial kind of tensions out there.
Yeah,
with the gangbanging.
Yeah, the East Side Longos and all that, and the Crips. So you know, they'd be like, hey, so they didn't have to. I knew already by the tone they told me that they ain't playing out there, you know.
Right.
But anyway, he had that Homeland, that cultural arts center. And we would go do a lot of productions, man. Thank you, Steam, for holding that place down for us. And anyway, from there, we started meeting other people, man. You know, damn, man, I don't know. We got a nice little, what do you call that? A nice little brochure, or what do you call that? Like, not a brochure.
Tour guy?
No, a nice amount of a talented artist in our crew, you know. Miles ended up joining us later on, and then we got like Kapow, but Miles is another guy that man, you know what?
Rest in peace
to Miles, man.
KWITE.
Rest in peace, KWITE. But Miles just really, whenever we would do a production and we would put Miles in there, it would just take it to a whole nother level, man. And he put us up there too, man, with the production, the backgrounds, and then we have people like Cyber out there in the IE, and that's another dude. He's pretty nice with it, man. Shout out to Cyber. He's big on the IE, you know. He's always about the IE.
So you're wearing a KWITE Rest in Peace shirt, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Let's talk about KWITE, because this show is all about honoring unsung heroes and people who have not been, you know, maybe have had their due exposure and whatnot. KWITE is an amazing artist, but I want you to talk about him because you guys ran together, you grew up together. And that's a thing about unity, too. It was an African-American and a Mexican dude. And you guys were like peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, because it was racial around that time, too, in Compton, Watts, South Central, you know. There was a lot of unity, too, though, you know, in between the madness. You had your black homie or your Mexican homie, however, vice versa. And I met KWITE. He would get up around my neighborhood, around the area, even around, you know, I would see him up around the Imperial Courts, around that area, the Imperial Blue Line, all the buses. And me and the homie Range, rest in peace. That's another dude, you know, another black dude, another brother. Me and him would you know, it was a little racial, you know, so we would be like, man, that dude's a black dude, he would say. And I go, nah, he's Mexican. Look at his style. I could just tell he's Mexican, you know. And then I finally range ran into him, and he was like, "I told you he was black," you know, and he was like, "That's Quite," and it was a black dude, and I was like I lost a bet or something. Like, damn, you know, I could have swore he was Mexican, but it was just friendly little racial dark joke competition back then, and me and Quite just that's how we linked up, and you know, again, Chi was taking us bus mobbing, and Quite already knew somewhat about tagging on buses, and
But he didn't really want to start piecing, right?
nah, we were mainly Quite loved the buses and tags, and
He was TNT, which is a major bus
yeah,
crew
he
in LA.
ended
Shout out
up
to TNT.
yeah, he ended up getting in a TNT, but he was from NHD too. Like, that was one of his first major crews. But they started getting into at the time, you know, when he got in, they were up everywhere. NHD was just up everywhere, man. Shout out to, you know, Harm, Diesel, and everybody else. And it just got a little hairy. They started getting into beef, I think, and he ran into a few problems and decided, you know what, I don't want to be involved in that tag banging type of stuff. But anyway, me and Quite just kept tagging on buses. We hit so many buses. Anybody that remembers in our area, we would see a bus, jump off, see another bus. From inside the bus, we would see a bus, and then we would jump off, catch the other bus. Boom, boom, boom. It would be something felt wrong if we didn't hit buses. You know, me and Quite were like that, and then we ended up, you know, like I said, landmarking, and then I started seeing a lot of bombs going up around the era, and I told Quite, hey,
Bombs
man,
are like simple pieces.
yeah, like two color, you know,
two colors, simple, simple letters.
So I remember telling Quite around 93, 93, like, hey man, let's start doing this. And I remember Quite really wasn't with it, you know, and I go, man, I'm telling you, bro, the letters, you know, this is where we need to go. And then, you know, in the beginning, it took him a while to learn stuff, but once he learned, like, man, you know, like his style is right here. You know, this is his style right here, and
that shirt is his style.
And I got a tattoo of his actual sketch that he did, and you know, he blew a lot of people out the water, and we just, you know, progressed.
By far, one of the freshest dudes to come out.
Oh yeah,
that side of town.
Yeah, man, Quite. You know, Quite was so into letters that he even got into a calligraphy association, and I laugh a little because it was like a bunch of, I don't know the name of the association, but it was like a bunch of older white ladies. We're talking about like grandmas from like Orange County, and he would travel and have like shows, calligraphy art shows over there in Pomona, the University of Pomona.
That's fresh.
And he was really into letters, man.
Yeah,
it's
he was.
Just dope stuff.
And then he has like a poem that he used to write, something about the words of.
Oh my goodness, man! I don't know it by memory, bro.
I don't know it by memory, but it's a good one. You guys have put it on some of his shirts.
Yeah, and I think he got it from somewhere, but
yeah, but it fit his life.
Yeah, man.
His philosophy.
It was it's on one of those. We did a big memorial for him. Unfortunately, it got buffed, but we put it up there.
We'll show a pic of it when we do our editing and all that stuff. We'll include that little form.
Man.
We'll flash it by.
Yeah, but that was my best friend, man. You know, I was his best man. He was my best man at my wedding. I was his best man at his wedding. When I started going to church, he started going to church with me. A little later, you know, and it was dope. He had twins. I had twins, and we had a lot, you know, a strong friendship. We see each other at church like every weekend and just catch up. And I was glad I was able to hang out with him 2 weeks prior before his death, man. We actually did a tribute for Acro, and we did like, between me and him, we mixed up our style and did an Acro rest in peace. And man, it just
little did you know in 2 weeks that he would be joining.
Yeah, man, we got the bad news, and it was unbelievable, and it really messed us up. It took everybody by shock, because that dude right there never hyped you up to do nothing stupid. When I was messing around and carrying guns and doing just trying to prove stuff to people that are violent, you know, trying to let them know that I was with the program, you know, Quite never appreciated that, you know, and he never hyped me up to do nothing stupid, like shoot at people or stab or nothing. He was just a good dude, man, and he went to college.
Very good dude.
Yeah, he went to college, worked. Yeah, he went to school and worked at the same
at a
time.
juvenile hall.
Yeah, he ended up working at a juvenile hall.
And he was.
man.
I heard from kids, bro, that would come out and say, "Man, we met your homeboy Quiet, and like, man, he was real good to us. He like put us up, you know, he was very kind and taught us, mentored us, and things like that."
Yeah, bro. Like, and his funeral was during around the COVID time, and you remember how many people came to his funeral. It was just, the guy was loved, man, loved big time, bro. And it just sucks, man. You know, he left us like, you know, I want to say too young, you know what I mean? But I don't know.
Smiling down on us from heaven.
Yeah, man. It's that was a big loss right there, man. It's just, life is not the same without him, bro, you know?
Yeah, we'll miss him, brother, but we'll see him again.
Yeah, man. The good thing is that he knew the Lord, and you know, he wasn't perfect, you know what I mean? Pretty sure.
As none of us are.
As none, especially me, man. You know, I go to church, but man, I mess up, bro. I mean, you know,
we're human, bro.
I say sorry to the Lord and keep trying to push, you know,
that's it.
Forward.
That's all we could do, man.
But quite, it was, there's a peace in knowing that he was close to the Lord, and
yeah, there is.
So, I mean, you know, I know he's in a better place, man.
For sure, man.
He's a good dude. So.
Well, we honor Quiet right
Rest
now.
In peace. Man.
Rest in peace, my brother. You know, this episode's for you.
Yeah.
Now, any last words of advice you would give to any youngsters, you know, that may be watching this podcast?
Man, you know what? Like, if you grew up in the hood, like I grew up in the hood, and you get into graffiti, just respect people, honor your elders, you know, and just be careful who you hang with. Don't get caught up trying to prove yourself. You'll get caught up and go to prison or get smoked, because that's happened to a lot of guys where we grew up. So be careful, man, who you hang with, and you don't got to prove nothing to nobody. You know what I mean? If it's wrong, just get away. You know, if you know, open your heart to the Lord. You know what I'm saying? If you know what I mean, just give the Lord a chance or something, man. And nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? Just stay strong, and right is right, wrong is wrong. Just, man, I don't know, bro.
I mean, man, it's all good stuff, my brother.
I know up to here, the Lord has me up to here, even with all the mistakes. I'm surprised I'm still here, you know? I'm surprised that you know, I trip out like who the Lord takes first, you know? And be like, man, I thought I was going to go a long time ago, but, you know, just be careful out there what you do, and just stay away from meth. I lost a brother a few years ago for meth. It really messed up his life. He was an educated person. Just stay away from meth, all the drugs nowadays.
Yep.
Just
word.
Meth is horrible, man. And
say nope to nope.
Rest in peace to Miles. You know what I mean? I know we didn't touch much on Miles, but rest in peace to the homie Miles.
Another good guy.
I lost all those three within like a year.
Yeah.
And man, that hurt, bro. You know, my Quiet, my brother and Miles, and just, you know, rest in peace to my brother Juan, my brother the homie Miles, and yeah, man, just stay away from them drugs, man. You know,
for sure. Okay, so any last shout outs, anything you want to, like the Instagram for I2W crew or anything?
Oh yeah,
you know?
Well, Instagram for I2W is at Into Win Crew. You can check us out right there. We put a lot of the homies up right there. Shout out to I2W, to UTI, SKA, RF. Shout out to Die 5. Fib, Pryor, Alloy, just a whole bunch of names, man. But shout out to all the squads I'm from. You know what I mean? And,
fresh.
And thank you, Janos. Thank you, Skill, for mentoring us. Thank you, Chief, for mentoring us. And that's it, man. You know. And,
word them up, man. So also, want to let you know that.
Sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. I just, you know, I heard Fear giving a shout out to his girl last time, and in another place, and I just want to give shout out to my wife Fabiola.
Right on.
She goes by Dottie. I love you, and thank you for holding it down. Thank you for sticking with me, and thank you for taking care of our kids. You're a good woman. Thank you. And you know,
fresh, bro.
I'll make sure I get that in.
You can't top that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Man. Pablo, tell me about the 30th anniversary, man, show that you guys got coming up.
Yeah, man. So thank you for letting me, you know, speak on it. So December 9th at the Thugs Beer. I believe that's what it's called. And we're celebrating the I2W 30th anniversary. It's gonna be a good thing, you know. Saints has a lot of performers coming in, you know. He has the Twins, he has Psycho Les, DJ Mishap, DJ Ed Gutter, DJ Luman, and we're gonna have a bunch of I2W art, you know, up in there, and canvases and skateboards or whatever. So if you guys could come join us December 9th, the flyer will be out there in the crew page. Hey man, just come. It's a free show, and come and have a good time and celebrate with us.
Before we go, I want to say this, because time is our most precious resource. Remember that every second, every minute, every moment counts. So do the best you can in this life to live compassionate, loving, and stay up. Peace out. Thank you for joining us.